Hello marketers, this is Brian McCarthy. Welcome to an online lecture on channels of distribution. Finally, we will tackle the most mysterious member of the marketing 4Ps, product, place, price, and promotion. Place refers to channels of distribution. We will discuss specifically what is a channel, multiple channels of distribution, selecting a channel, and then we will summarize. What is a channel? I think the best way to think about it is that a channel of distribution is the pipeline of a product or a service from a producer to the consumers. It answers the question, the compelling but simple question, where will the customer obtain the product or service? It's a key part of any marketing strategy, very complex, extremely interesting, and channels of distribution are always changing and evolving. You'll hear a channel referred to in a lot of different ways, sometimes as place, sometimes marketing channel, channel of distribution, distribution system, different words like that. Please keep in mind that most of the time these mean pretty much the same thing. In any given industry, you may have a precise channel vocabulary you need to learn and use, but that's not rocket science. You can do that. Just keep in mind that it is the pipeline from the producer to the consumer. What does a channel do? Well, besides connecting directly with customers, it handles transactions. That's right. Gives the consumer the product or service and takes the money. It handles logistics, many times financing, and also many times post-sale service, support, and training. There are two main types of channels. A direct channel, of course, is when a producer and the ultimate consumer deal directly with each other. A great example of that is the Dell Computer Company. An indirect channel is when there are intermediaries, like distributors or resellers, in between the producer and the consumer. Well, why doesn't everyone just sell directly? That way you can cut out the middleman and keep all the money for yourself. Well, one reason is because producers lack the financial resources to market directly. It'd be very expensive to have stores all over the world, for example, if you were a consumer products company. But even if you had the money, you may be able to get greater ROI by investing your money in some other part of your business, like in research and development. And also, you may not be able to reach all of the customers you want. It just wouldn't be feasible without having some partners to help you. Here's an example. Procter & Gamble is one of the very biggest consumer product companies in the world and one of the most successful, and they still rely very, very heavily on their channel partners. And it's not just places like the big grocery stores and Walmart. Take this example from their business in Mexico. With a target market of low-income women and a product of single-use packets, a price point of around 19 cents US, for example, for a packet, a single-use packet of Head & Shoulders shampoo, Procter & Gamble's channel are the tiny neighborhood high-frequency stores, which worldwide are Procter & Gamble's biggest distribution partners. Many companies over time will grow from one channel of distribution to many channels of distribution. You may distribute your products on the web, via catalogs, and via stores, for example. Here's REI, a company many of us know, outdoor goods and apparel. They have their website, rei.com. They have REI catalogs, the famous REI catalogs, and also their REI stores in many cities. Anyone know who this guy is? Well, that's Jeremy Moon. He's the CEO of a young, growing, interesting outdoor apparel company called Icebreaker. They started in New Zealand. They make exclusively merino wool, base layer, mid layer, and outer layer outdoor clothing. All of the wool comes from New Zealand merino sheep. In terms of full disclosure, I have to let you know that while Icebreaker is not in any way a sponsor of this video broadcast, I am an avid user of their product, and I have to say it's as good as advertised in my opinion. When Icebreaker decided to grow their business and go beyond the borders of tiny New Zealand, they looked to the U.S. as an opportunity, and they thought about 3 distribution strategies that they could pursue in the U.S. Number 1 would be to sell their product online via the icebreaker.com website. The second strategy was to use chain stores to reach customers, and there would be 2 types. One type would be fashion-oriented chain stores like a Nordstrom, and that would be appropriate if Icebreaker wanted to pursue a fashion positioning of their product. The other type would be outdoor-oriented chain stores like REI, which would help them if they wanted to position their product as technical outdoor high-performance apparel. A third strategy would be to go to independent retailers, either fashion or technical. These would be locations with just a single owner, for example, a high-end ski or mountaineering store. Well, when faced with a decision like this, it's helpful to have a framework and a set of questions that you can ask yourself and your team. In the book, The Channel Advantage by Friedman and Fury, they encourage marketers to ask 4 questions about their channel. Number 1, does the channel fit the target customer? In other words, will the customer buy there? Secondly, does the channel fit the brand positioning? In the case of Icebreaker, technical or fashion, and by the way, Jeremy Moon desires to position his product as technical outdoor apparel. The third question is the channel a good fit for our organization? Does it fit who we are and what we're good at? And then finally, can we achieve our economic or financial goals through this channel? I think these are 4 great questions, especially because you can fit them into a chart like this, in which the questions are the columns and the channel options are the rows, and then you can fill in the boxes with a yes or no for each question, which I have done for Icebreaker's U.S. channel decision. You can see that you can make a strong argument for the independent ski and mountain shops being the best overall choice for Icebreaker's initial entry into the U.S. market. Now, once you have a channel partner, how do you motivate them to sell as much of your product as possible and to give the customers as great an experience as possible? After all, they don't work for you. They can do whatever they want. Well, the first thing is you have to make sure that you are giving your channel partners an opportunity to make money. That's what they're in business for. Secondly, you need to provide fair and understandable pricing terms and conditions, lots of support and training, and consistently over time, a compelling current product line, and an exciting vision of where your product line is going in the future, a great brand, personal attention, and co-marketing activities. Icebreaker in the U.S. Part 2. Well, Icebreaker decided to go with independent retailers, but then they also decided to open up their own store. This may seem like a surprising second step to you, but it makes sense for a couple of reasons. Number 1, if you have a great brand, sometimes it can be frustrating to see how your retail partners display the brand in front of customers. By having your own store, it gives you a chance to model the brand as you want to for both your customers and for your retail partners. They can look at your store and learn how to do it better. A second reason, besides getting the money, of course, is that it gives you the opportunity to have first-hand contact on a daily basis with your consumers so you can learn as much as possible about what's working and what isn't. So here's an example from the spring of 2008 of an advertisement put in the Willamette Week newspaper by one of Icebreaker's channel partners, Mountain Shop. And it's not a bad ad, but if you're Icebreaker, you might feel a little let down about how your brand is being represented in the ad. There's Icebreaker down in the corner listed with a lot of other brands, some of whom are Icebreaker competitors. There's really no effort made to explain the brand or present the Icebreaker brand as Icebreaker would like it presented. Now, if you look at Patagonia, they're in even worse shape. The poor folks at Mountain Shop did not spell Patagonia correctly. So for this and for many reasons, Icebreaker decided to open up their own concept store, they called it, in Portland. This is a shot of the billboard which they used to announce the grand opening of the store. You can see some of the imagery that Icebreaker uses to express their brand. Very interesting. And here is the location of the Icebreaker store at Burnside and 11th in Portland, right by Powell Books, in case you are in town and want to swing by. And here is an ad that Icebreaker ran in Portland Monthly magazine. This is Icebreaker's first effort with a print ad to take charge of their brand identity in the Portland market. Now, the fact that Icebreaker is running their own ads and Icebreaker has their own store does not mean that the Mountain Shop is not a high-quality partner of theirs. Of course it is. It's a great store, knowledgeable personnel, but Icebreaker has reached the conclusion that maybe marketing and branding is not the Mountain Shop's strength, so Icebreaker will focus on that, let the Mountain Shop do what they're good at, and that hopefully they will continue to be a great partner of Icebreaker's. Icebreaker in the U.S. Part 3, they have expanded their channel to include REI. And Part 4, Icebreaker is now selling directly to consumers via their own online store. In summary, we have talked about what a channel is, how companies use multiple channels of distribution, some questions to ask when selecting a channel. Thank you very much for your attention, and as always, good luck with all your marketing efforts.